When we first talked about starting the business, it didn't feel like a risk. It felt like momentum. My cousin had the idea. My brother had the energy. My parents had the connections. And I had the money, not excess, not disposable, but saved carefully over years of consulting work that never sounded impressive at family dinners. $40,000. I wired it without hesitation. There were no formal contracts at the beginning, just shared documents, late night calls, and the repeated assurance that we're family. We don't need to complicate this. I believed that. I wanted to believe that trust still had a place somewhere uncomplicated. At first, I was involved in everything: strategy, client outreach, early negotiations. When we landed our first major account, I was the one who'd taken the call, walked them through the model, adjusted timelines to fit their needs. They liked me because I listened, because I didn't oversell. The business grew faster than expected. And then, slowly, I stopped being invited. It wasn't dramatic. No confrontation, just small omissions. A meeting rescheduled without telling me. A document updated with my name removed from a header. Decisions made, quickly. Because things were moving fast, I asked once, lightly, if something had changed. My brother said, "You're just better on the outside. You see things more clearly." That should have been my warning. The firing came in an email. Professional. Neutral. Written like we'd never shared meals together. "Given the company's evolving needs, we've decided to restructure your role." There was no role left to restructure. Attached was updated paperwork. My name gone. Ownership percentages revised. My investment described as an early contribution, already accounted for. I read it 3 times before the meaning settled in. They hadn't just pushed me out. They'd rewritten me. Everyone expected me to explode, to threaten, to call a lawyer. I thought about it more than once. I had messages drafted that never got sent. I researched options late at night, scrolling until my eyes burned. But something stopped me. Not kindness, not forgiveness, curiosity. I wanted to understand how they thought this would end, so I waited. Waiting wasn't passive. It was disciplined. I watched from a distance, learned their structure, noticed where decisions bottlenecked. One thing became quickly. The business wasn't diversified. And nearly 60% of revenue came from one client, the first big one. The one I'd brought in. They didn't know that the client still called me occasionally. Not about the business, about industry things, trends, introductions. They trusted me. They always had. I never mentioned what had happened. I didn't need to. The call came on an ordinary Tuesday. "Hey," the client said casually, "we're reviewing our contract. Something feels off. Can we talk?" We talked. Calmly. Factually. I answered questions they hadn't known how to ask before. A week later, the client requested a formal review meeting and asked that I be present. That was when the emails from my family started. Confused. Urgent. Suddenly respectful. I didn't reply right away. At the meeting, I didn't accuse anyone. I didn't even bring up the past. The client did that for me, asking pointed questions about continuity, decision-making, and why the person they trusted most wasn't officially part of the company anymore. Silence filled the room in a way I recognized. The kind that arrives when assumptions break. The client didn't threaten. They didn't raise their voice. They simply ceded that future work depended on confidence, and confidence depended on transparency. Control shifted there, quietly, irreversibly. Afterward, my family wanted to talk. They used words like as misunderstanding and as oversight. They offered adjustments, reinstatement, a revised agreement. I listened. Then I declined. Not angrily, just clearly. I took my investment back with interest, negotiated professionally. I didn't ask for an apology. I didn't need one. The business survived. Barely. The relationships didn't. Not in the way they had been before. I didn't feel victorious. I felt steady. What I learned was simple and difficult. Patience isn't about waiting for people to do the right thing. It's about allowing reality to surface on its own, without interference. They assumed I'd comply. That silence meant surrender. They were wrong. And I didn't have to raise my voice to prove it.